Grace and peace be with you. My name is Mark. I'm the pastor at Sycamore Creek in Potterville. I have a brief thought for you today for our New Testament Challenge Day 5. Our readings are Matthew 9 and 10 and Romans 13 through 15. And today I'm going to focus on Matthew. And in Matthew 9, Jesus does many miraculous healings. And then in Matthew 10, Jesus sends out his disciples. And as we read through Matthew 10, man, there's a lot of things I think that we can get tripped up on as we read through that. And I want to just kind of give us a picture of what Jesus is doing here in Matthew 10 that will hopefully help us to not get tripped up as we go through this, because there's a lot of strong language that Jesus uses in Matthew chapter 10. And if we get bogged down in the details, it's easy to imagine that Jesus is setting like some sort of impossible standard for his disciples that none of us can meet. And to a certain extent, Jesus might be doing that because it points to our need that we can't do this on our own power. We need God's grace. Part of the good news is a continual return to God's love and God's grace. We can't do this on our own. We need God's grace. We need God's grace. But in addition, I think as Jesus is going through here, he's sort of presenting an ideal, a sort of like, up here a level view of what it means to follow him, so that we would have a guide, not a rule by rule thing to follow. So if we look at that and we look at what it means to follow Jesus, Jesus wants us to live out the first commandment, to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. And he talks about what that will look like then. If we live that out, we're going to face opposition, but we will push through that opposition because we love the Lord our God with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength. In verse 39 of chapter 10, Jesus says, "Whoever finds his life will lose it, and whoever loses his life for my sake will find it." All too often, we live life for ourselves. We go after what's in it for me sort of thinking. And what Jesus is pointing us to is a life that is better than that, a life where we live for something bigger than ourselves, better than ourselves, and that leads to true life. I want you to examine today, what are you living for? If you really look at your life, what is your life centered around? And do you have the life that you want? If not, may you go back to God's grace and God's mercy and God's love. And there, I think, if we return to that again and again, we will find the life that God wants for us. Grace and peace.